There's a quiet way you've learned to move through the world. You notice the needs of others, the subtle shifts in a room's energy, and you adjust, almost instinctively. You make yourself easy, flexible. You don't ask for much. You might even pride yourself on it, being the low-maintenance one, the person who doesn't add to the chaos. But there are moments, in the stillness after everyone else's needs have been met, when a peculiar emptiness settles in. It's not loneliness, exactly. It's more like a faint echo, a sense that something inside has been quietly set aside for so long you're no longer sure what it even was. And you have to wonder, what is this costing you? You know the script by heart. When plans are being made, your first thought is whatever works for everyone else. When a conflict simmers, you smooth it over. When a preference arises, you swallow the words, "I'd actually rather..." It's not that you're passive. It's a form of active, diligent work, the work of anticipating, of accommodating, of minimizing your own footprint. In relationships, you become the steady one, the listener, the emotional shock absorber. At work, you're the reliable one who never complains, who takes on the invisible tasks. Your identity becomes woven with this reliability. Your self-talk is a gentle, constant editor. It's not that important, don't be difficult, it's easier this way. But the effect is a slow, subtle fragmentation. You start to make decisions from a place of what you believe others can handle, not from what you truly want. Your own desires become distant, fuzzy concepts. You might feel a strange resentment toward people who haven't actually done anything wrong. They simply took the space you willingly gave them. And underneath it all, a quiet question hums. If I am so easy to be with, why do I so often feel alone when I'm with them? This isn't just being nice. This is a specific psychological pattern, a deep-seated adaptation, where your worth becomes contingent on your utility, and your safety is tied to your invisibility. It's crucial to understand this. You are not broken, and this is not a flaw in your character. This is an adaptation. It is a strategy your mind learned, likely very early, to navigate a world that felt complex, overwhelming, or conditional. Perhaps expressing needs led to disappointment. Perhaps big emotions in those around you felt unsafe. So you learned to preempt, to become the one who didn't add to the burden. Your nervous system wired itself for a specific kind of safety, the safety of non-imposition. This pattern, often rooted in what psychologists call a high sociotropic orientation, where self-esteem is overly dependent on social approval, isn't weakness. It's a brilliant, if costly, solution your younger self engineered to feel secure and connected. To understand why this pattern is so stubborn, we need to look at the brain's wiring. Our brains are social organs, and one of their primary directives is to maintain our belonging to the tribe. This is an ancient survival-level function. The brain has a dedicated network for social threat and reward called the social pain network. Remarkably, it overlaps with the same regions that process physical pain. Being excluded or disapproved of literally hurts. So your brain is constantly running a subconscious calculation. What is the social cost of my actions? For you, this calculation is skewed. The perceived cost of asserting a need, of having a preference, of taking up space is dialed up to a deafening volume. It registers as a high-probability threat. Meanwhile, the reward circuitry for compliance, for making others comfortable, is well-trodden and reliable. You get a hit of safety, of good person neurochemicals when you successfully avoid being a burden. Think of your mind as having a diligent, hyper-vigilant stage manager. This stage manager's job is to ensure the social play goes off without a hitch. They dim your lights before you speak. They edit your lines to be more palatable. They hustle you off stage before you're truly seen. The show runs smoothly for everyone else, but you never get to perform your part. The mental model here is a tilted scale. On one side, you have the immense visceral weight of potential social disruption. On the other side, you have the feather-light weight of your own inner preference. The scale never comes close to balancing, so you never act. The work isn't about bulldozing your personality. It's about slowly, carefully adding weight back to your side of the scale. The first step is to move from being a mind reader to an observer. Your adaptation relies on the belief that you know what others need and what they can tolerate. You are likely constantly inferring, predicting, and assuming. The psychological task here is to challenge what's called projection. You are projecting your own fears of being disruptive onto them. So for 1 week, your practice is simply to notice. In a low-stakes situation, choosing a coffee shop, picking a TV show, pause. Notice the immediate automatic thought, I probably wants, or she'd be annoyed if. Acknowledge it. Then consciously say to yourself, I do not know that. I am guessing. This works because it creates a gap between the stimulus, the social situation, and your habitual response. It engages the prefrontal cortex, the brain's braking system, to interrupt the amygdala's threat signal. You are not changing your behavior yet. You are just watching the machinery of your assumption. You'll see how often you are the author of the limits you live within.
The second step is to practice the smallest possible declaration. The goal here is not to state a grand need, but to rewire the threat response through tiny, low-risk exposures. Behavioral psychology tells us that fear is maintained by avoidance. The only way to dial down the false alarm is to approach in safe doses. So you find a microscopic preference and you voice it. I'd prefer the aisle seat. I'm actually in the mood for Italian tonight. I think I'll sit this one out. The content is trivial. The psychological action is monumental. You are teaching your brain a new equation, that stating a preference does not result in catastrophe. The brain's neuroplasticity means that with repetition, this new pathway, preference stated, world remains stable, becomes stronger. The social pain network learns this is not an emergency. Start with people you feel safest with, or even with strangers where the stakes feel zero. The example is the coffee order. Instead of whatever you're having, you say, I'll have a latte, please. It sounds simple. In your nervous system, it is a quiet revolution. The third step is to differentiate between responsibility and over-responsibility. This pattern often confuses the two. You feel responsible for other people's emotions and experiences. This is a form of over-responsibility, a burden you were never meant to carry. Cognitive psychology points to this as a cognitive distortion called personalization. The work is to consciously draw the boundary of your agency. Your responsibility is to be clear, kind, and authentic. Their responsibility is to manage their own reaction. So when you feel that familiar pull to shrink because someone might be disappointed, you ask yourself a new question. What is my piece and what is theirs? Your piece is to communicate. Their piece is to feel their feeling. This is not callous. It is the foundation of genuine adult relationship. For example, you need to reschedule a lunch with a friend. The old way is a long, apologetic text, soaked in anxiety. The new way is clear and clean. Something's come up. I need to reschedule. I'm free Thursday or Friday. Let me know what works for you. You have done your part. You have left the rest to them. The fourth step is to reconnect with your own neglected sensory experience. When you live for others, you disconnect from your own body and its signals. Neuroscience shows that our emotions and preferences are rooted in interoception, our perception of the internal state of our body. To know what you want, you must be able to feel what you feel. This is a practice of turning the spotlight of attention inward. Several times a day, pause and ask, what do I feel in my body right now? Not an emotion, but a sensation. Tightness in the chest, heaviness in the shoulders, energy in the hands. Then ask, what does this part of me need? Maybe it's a stretch. Maybe it's a glass of water. Maybe it's 5 minutes of silence. This practice rebuilds the connection between your physical self and your conscious mind. It adds weight to your side of the scale by giving you concrete data. For instance, in the middle of a long meeting where you've been silent, you notice a knot in your stomach and a desire to move. That is information. The action might be as small as shifting in your chair or deciding to take a walk after the meeting. You are listening to a signal you've long been trained to ignore. The final step is to reframe maintenance from a burden to a dignity. In your mind, high maintenance is an insult. It means being difficult, draining. But consider a different view. All valuable things require maintenance. A garden, a meaningful friendship, a work of art. Your own humanity is the most valuable thing you have. To maintain it is not an indulgence, it is a dignity. This is a cognitive reframe. You are changing the narrative from "I am a problem to be minimized" to "I am a person to be tended to." This allows you to see your own needs not as inconvenient eruptions, but as essential feedback for a life lived in alignment. So when you feel the old guilt for wanting something, you say to yourself, "This is the maintenance required for my existence." It might mean scheduling time alone without apology. It might mean buying the better quality item that will last. It might mean saying no to protect your energy. You are no longer the low-maintenance friend, partner, or employee. You are a complex human being engaging in the dignified, ongoing work of your own care. So bring it all together into one simple image. Picture that tilted scale, the one that is always tipped toward the perceived needs of the world. Your entire journey is about placing small, honest weights onto your own side. Not grand gestures, not dramatic confrontations, just the quiet weight of a noticed assumption, the solid weight of a stated preference, however small, the clarifying weight of a responsibility gently placed back where it belongs, the grounding weight of a sensation felt in your body, the dignified weight of conscious maintenance. With each one, the scale trembles, then steadies. It may never be perfectly balanced, no one's is, but it can stop being a dictatorship of one side. It can become an instrument of negotiation, a tool for navigating the world from a place of gentle integrity, where you are present not as a reflection of others, but as a person in your own right. It ends not with a shout, but with a settling, a recognition that the peace you sought by making yourself small was always an illusion. True peace feels different. It feels like a quiet solidity within your own skin. It's the peace of knowing you can be considerate without erasing yourself. You can be kind without being a ghost. There will be days the old script feels louder, and that's okay. It's just a well-worn path in the mind. You are now learning to walk another one. The world may not immediately notice the change, but you will. You will feel it in the newfound space around your words, in the calm breath after a simple "I prefer," in the gentle surprise of realizing you are no longer exhausted from a performance no one asked you to give. You are not causing a ripple of disruption. You are simply, finally, coming ashore to yourself, and the cost of that is a price you were always meant to pay.